Oh yeah, I'll just say that again, Lars is recording. So we've just got a gentle practice this morning. So it's great for anyone who might be newer to yoga and wants to work on the foundations, or if you're just craving a bit more of a softer practice, a more gentle flow, then this is the place to be. So on that note, yeah, we'll come to a comfortable cross-legged seated position and just take a moment to land here. So close down the eyes when you get here, and lengthening up through the spine and the crown of the head. So really seeing if you can create a bit of length in the side body, and just taking a moment to arrive, dropping anything that we were doing earlier and trying our best not to think of anything that we've got coming after this. We're taking this time for ourselves, the next 25 minutes or so, just really marking that intention of being really present here, of being here for yourself, tuning inwards. And we'll start off by taking some longer and slower inhales and exhales. And we'll do so by filling the belly. So trying your best on an inhale to drive the breath down, filling the belly here. And it might help for you to bring your hands just to the outside or just on the belly itself, to just feel the rise and fall of the belly here as you drive it down on the inhale and let it come back up on the exhale. And seeing if you can lengthen your inhales and exhales by a second every time. This is really good for the body, for the nervous system. We're activating the parasympathetic nervous system. It just lets the mind know that everything's okay. So throughout this practice, I encourage you to focus on the sensation. What we're trying to do here is we are trying to create the space for us to connect with ourselves. So doing that with the help of the breath and just really trying to tune into any sensations that are happening in the body. So being good at yoga isn't necessarily a thing. It's really not about getting into how deep you can get into the poses or how flexible you are. I want to distill that immediately because it's really not about that. I think the true key or the true reason for yoga is to really come inwards with ourselves, and how much awareness can you bring to your movements. So really trying to see this as more of a mindful movement or a moving meditation. So we'll do that really tuning in with the breath and using the breath as our anchor throughout the practice. So keeping those lengthened inhales and exhales. On that note, we'll bat the eyelids open and we'll start off just by rolling the shoulders up and back down the spine. So we carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. So really seeing if you can make some big circles here. Bring the shoulders all the way up to the ears and then back down again. We'll take it in the other direction. Coming forward this time. And see if you can sync up with the breath. On an inhale, bring the shoulders up. Exhale, bringing them down. This is mainly what yoga is. It's just linking breath with movement. So as much as the physical practice is important, it's really about how much you can bring the breath. Nice. We'll come back to just dropping the shoulders down, and we'll drop the chin down to the chest here on an exhale. Just feeling a nice opening, a nice stretch in the spine, the back muscles. And connecting back to the breath, noticing if you tense up here slightly, if there is a bit of discomfort. Inhaling, lifting the chin all the way up to the sky. And then bringing the chin back to center again. Bring the right ear down to the right shoulder. Just getting a nice stretch here in the side of the neck. Remembering to breathe. Bringing it back to center, and we'll take it on the other side now. So left ear towards the left shoulder. Seeing if you can relax the shoulders down as you do that. Bringing it back to center. And then from here, we're just going to start by making some circles with the nose. So as if you were kind of painting here with your nose, starting small, making some circles in one direction. And then seeing if you can make some bigger circles. Until you feel like you've gone as wide as you can, as big as you can. And feel free to linger here or take it at your own pace and linger it anywhere that is asking for your attention, anywhere that might feel specifically tight. And we'll take it in the other direction. I find this is always a really good one to do first thing in the morning, especially after you've just woken up, because you do store a lot of tension here in the neck and in the back and the collarbones. And it's nice to it's a pretty easy one, you can do this anywhere. Awesome. We'll come back to center again. And then from here, bring the fingertips just out on the mat, either side of us. And drawing up length here through the spine and the crown of the head. And on an inhale, we'll flip the palm and lift the left arm all the way up to the sky here. Creating as much length as possible, looking up at the hand if you can. And then we're going to bring it up and over, coming into a side bend here. And you can stay on your right hand, you can leave your right hand planted down on the mat. Or if you want to go deeper, coming towards your elbow. And just gazing underneath the left arm or down at the mat. The hips are heavy here. Breathing into the side body, not forgetting the breath. And again, just seeing how many sensations you can feel here and asking yourself where you can feel them. Inhaling, bringing the hand back up again, and then the left fingertips come down to the outside of the mat again. We'll take it on the other side, so inhaling, lifting the right arm all the way up to the sky, creating as much length as possible before you bring it over towards the left. Again, gazing here underneath the right arm or down at the mat if that's better for you on your neck. One last breath here. Breathing into the belly, and then we'll bring the fingertips back down to the mat. Inhaling, we'll bring both hands all the way up above the head. And from here, we're just going to make some star shapes with the hands. So really just getting some movement into the fingers here, into the forearms. Seeing as if you can go even faster. How fast can you go? It's actually quite tough. And we don't really give our hands very much attention like this. Nice, we'll stop here and then bring the right hand to the outside of the left knee, coming into a twist. So the left hand just comes behind us, just supporting the spine. And on an inhale, we'll create length. And then exhaling, twisting deeper here, seeing if you can look further back, looking over the left shoulder. And bringing a bit of eye yoga in here, seeing how far back you can look with the eyes. Getting a bit of an eye stretch. Remembering to breathe here, softening through the shoulders, noticing if they've crept up. Inhale, we'll bring it back to center again. Hands come up above the head. And this time we're going to make fists with the hands and just make some circles with the wrists. Seeing if you can move both hands at the same time, in the same direction. We'll take it in the other direction. Awesome, and then we'll take the left hand to the outside of the right knee and set up for a twist on the other side. So inhaling again here, rooting down through the sit bones, creating as much length through the crown of the head. And then exhaling, allowing yourself to go deeper into the pose, twisting and gazing back. Bringing the eye awareness as well here, seeing how far back you can look with the right, towards the right. Breathing here, nice work. And then we'll bring it back to center. Awesome. From here, we're going to roll forward onto all fours. So we just want our knees directly underneath our hips and our wrists underneath our shoulders and spreading the fingers wide here. So that's just to avoid us from dumping all the weight into the heel of the hands. So when you get here, maybe even bringing a bit of a claw, kind of as if you're gripping the mat slightly, just to spread the weight a little better. So if you are new to the practice or you're not used to doing things on your wrists, then you might notice that your wrists start to ache a little bit in yoga. We're just going to rock forward and back here just to bring a bit of mobility, just waking up here through the wrists, so the shoulders come up in front of the fingers as much as you can, come forward, and then we'll bring the hips back to the heels. And we've got the toes tucked here, so we're getting a nice toe stretch as well. So coming forward and back. Just a couple more times. Keeping the spine long here. Nice. And then we'll come back to center, and we'll bring the right hand to the center of the mat, and then bring the left hand all the way up to the sky here, opening up through the side body. Looking up at the hand. And then exhale, bringing the left hand to where the right hand was at the center of the mat, and we'll take it on the other side. So again here, just lifting the right hand all the way up to the sky, opening up here through the collarbone, the side body on the right. Maybe wiggling the fingers. And then exhale, bringing it back to center. We'll bring the hands, again, the wrist directly underneath the shoulders. And from here, we're just going to bring the right foot back. So we've still got the toes tucked. And we're just going to rock forward and back slightly. And then when we're ready, lifting up that foot. So we can feel the core turn on here. Nice work. And then from here, once you've got your balance, seeing if you can come up onto the left fingertips, and then eventually lifting the left hand all the way up and bringing it up in front of us alongside the ear. So again, really feeling the dual action here, the pulling in both directions. It's as if someone was pulling your wrist and pulling your foot. So we're strong here. And then exhale, we're going to bring the elbow to the knee, rounding through here. Inhale, lengthening up. Exhale, rounding. Again, bringing the breath as much as you can, noticing if you're holding. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, we'll bring the palm back down and come back onto all fours. And take it on the other side. So curling the toes under and straightening out the left leg. Just rocking forward and back here, feeling the calf muscle turn on. And then when you're ready, and you've got your balance, lifting the leg up, keeping it as straight as you can. And seeing if you can keep both hips here centered, so not opening up too much through the left hip. And then when you're ready, coming up onto the right fingertips, so pressing all the weight down into the left fingertips, spreading the weight here because we don't want to be dumping the weight into the heel of the hand. And then lengthening, lifting the right hand up. Nice work. Feeling the core turn on. This is a really nice balancing exercise as well. And then exhale, rounding through, bringing elbow to knee. Exhale, inhale, lengthening out. Exhale, rounding through. Last time, inhaling, lengthening. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen it out. And then we'll bring the palm back down and then come back onto all fours. We'll take a couple of cat-cows from here. So really simple. We're just going to inhale, drop the belly down towards the mat, open up through the collarbones, gazing up in front of us. And then exhale, rounding through the spine, pressing down into the hands, into the knees, into the tops of the feet. And we'll take a few rounds of this, so taking it in your own time maybe. Inhaling, dropping the belly down, tailbone goes up to the sky. Exhale, rounding through, coming into cat pose. One more time. Inhaling here, letting the heart come through the shoulders. Exhale, rounding through the spine. This is really good for spine mobility as well. Also really easy, you can do it at any point. And then from here, we're going to walk the hands forward and come onto our forearms. And we're going to come into puppy pose. So what we're going to do once we're on our forearms is just walk the knees back slightly and then lift the hips up to the sky as we start to melt the chest down towards the mat. Your chin or your forehead could be resting on the mat, or they might be really far away, whatever it is. Again, we're focusing on the sensation here and not the shape itself. If you can feel something, then you're doing it. Breathing into the belly. Getting a nice shoulder opening here. And then inhaling, coming back onto the forearms. And we'll come back up onto all fours. From here, we're going to tuck the toes and start to come into our first down dog. So lifting the hips all the way up to the sky, keeping a slight bend in the knees for the first down dog. And focusing on really creating length through the spine here. So imagining as you have one line of energy from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. So focusing here on, keeping that one line through the spine, as opposed to getting your legs straight. And wherever you are in your down dog, just pedaling out. So dropping one heel down to the mat and then the other. And breathing. Should feel really nice. And if you're not used to being in downward dog, then that's okay. It might feel a bit awkward to start off with. Nice, we're going to come back to a still down dog. And then gazing up in between the hands, we're going to walk the feet best we can to the top of the mat. And keep the feet hips distance here. When you get here, keeping that same bend in the backs of the knees. Grab a hold of opposite elbows as we just let the head drop down and the belly can rest on the thighs. And from here, we're just going to take some bounces. So inhaling, we're coming up. Exhale, we're coming down. So it's quite a dynamic movement. So inhale up, exhale down. We're going to speed up the breath a little bit. Don't be afraid to have an audible breath. We're just waking up through the hamstrings. Nice, and then we'll start to just slow down the bouncing, come back to a place of stillness. Maybe just rocking from side to side here. Letting the head hang loose as well. Letting the shoulders go. Amazing. And then we'll drop the hands back down. Release the hold as we start to roll up slowly. So keeping that slight bend in the knees, rolling it all the way up to the top of the mat. So seeing if we can do it as slowly as possible, one vertebra at a time. Head comes last. When you get to the top, just rolling the shoulders up and back down the spine again. So we're in Tadasana pose, mountain pose here. Amazing. Nice work. From here, we're just going to take an inhale, hands come up above the head. Palms come together. And then exhale, keeping the palms together, we're going to start to fold forward, hinging from the hips, coming all the way down, back down to a forward fold. Keeping that bend in the knees if that's best for you. And then from here, we're going to come into a flat back. So coming into a figure, kind of like a 7. Hands can just rest on the shins or on the thighs. And then we're coming back down into a forward fold, letting everything go. Again, keeping that bend in the knees. And then bringing both palms down to the mat, best you can. And we'll bring the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. and then drop the right knee down. Awesome. From here, we're going to bring the weight into the right hand and lift the left arm up to the sky, coming into a twist. Exhale, bring the left hand back down again, and we're going to start to straighten up through the left leg as we bring the hips towards the heels. So left toes point up to the sky, and seeing wherever you can here. You know, you might be really high up here. I mean, if you're not used to stretching out your hamstrings, then well, you'll be in a different place. But again, if you can feel it, that's all that matters. Inhaling, creating length, and then exhaling, seeing if you can fold just a little more wherever you are. Letting the head drop down, feeling that hamstring stretch, and maybe in the whole of the back of the leg. And then inhaling, coming into a flat back position again. We're going to roll forward onto the left foot, plant both hands down, and then come back to all fours. From here, we're going to bring the big toes together and open the knees out wide. And then we're going to sit the hips down here, coming into a child's pose. So bringing the hips down to the heels. Maybe just swaying the hips from side to side when you get here. So we're extending through the arms overhead. And when you get to your child's pose, just taking a few deeper belly breaths. We're not here for long, but just enjoying the sensations here. Amazing. Inhaling, looking up at the hands again, and we'll come back onto all fours. And then tuck the toes, and we'll lift the knees and the hips, coming back up into downward dog. Amazing. Looking up in between the hands, we'll start to walk the feet to the top of the mat again. Feet are hips distance, and then we'll come into a flat back. Inhale. Hands can rest on the thighs or the shins, wherever you are, and then exhale, folding down again. Keeping that bend in the knees. This time we're taking it on the other side, so lifting the left foot up and bringing it to the back of the mat, as far back as you can, and then dropping the left knee down. You can leave the left toes tucked or untucked, that's your choice. And then pressing the weight into the left hand, we're lifting the right arm up to the sky this time, coming into a twist. Breathing into the belly, nice and deep here. And then exhale, bringing the right hand back down again. We're coming into half splits on the other side. So we're starting to bring the hips towards the heels as we straighten up through the right foot, the right leg, and the right toes come up to the sky. Inhale, creating length through the spine, and then exhale, folding just a little more. Being kind to yourself, accepting where you are. Everybody is different. It's all about your own experience and journey. One more breath here. And then inhaling, looking up again, rolling forward onto the right foot. And then we'll bring the right foot back and we'll meet in all fours. From here, we're gonna come and sit back onto our hips and come to a seated position. So extending the legs out long in front of us here. We're coming into a forward fold, seated forward fold. So seeing, first of all, this might feel really challenging to you. If you've got tight hamstrings, you might already be feeling your core turn on, which is a really good exercise in itself. And from here, we're going to lift the hands up above the head again, maybe keeping a slight bend in the knees, and then exhale, as if you were going to folding forward here, hinging from the hips, coming forward, seeing as if you were going to pass a ball over to someone sat in front of you, coming as far forward as you can, and then just letting the hands rest wherever they want, wherever they do, maybe on the shins, on the thighs, or if you can grab a hold of the feet, then that's great. And don't worry about having your knees bent here as well. That's totally fine. And just focusing less on getting the head towards the feet, but seeing if you can really try and bring the belly down towards the thighs. So again, we're getting a nice full body stretch here. You might be feeling it in the hamstrings or maybe in the lower back. This is a really nice opening for the lower back, in fact, the whole back. Just waking up the whole nervous system. And breathing here. Again, being curious about the sensations that you're feeling. And trying your best not to label them as painful, but just noticing them and letting your body know that everything's okay if you are feeling any tightness. Inhaling, looking up at the feet again, and we'll start to come up. And this time, we're going to scoot the hips forward as we come to lie down onto our backs. And when you get here, just taking a moment to feel the whole body, make contact with the mat. We're going to take one last pose here before we end the practice, and we're coming into bridge pose. So we're going to slowly lift the hips all the way up to the sky as high as we can, pressing down into the soles of the feet. And your hands can just stay planted down onto the mat, or if you want to, you can interlace them behind the back, getting a nice opening in the front of the body. Holding here for 2 more breaths. Pressing down into the heels, filling the whole front body here. And then exhale, we'll start to release the hands and then lower the spine down slowly, 1 vertebra at a time again, back down to the mat. Amazing. From here, we'll hug the knees into the chest, just hugging them here and rocking from side to side on the lower back, if that feels okay. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet back down to the mat and just drop both knees over to the left. Arms can come out to a T, and we gaze over the right shoulder. Just coming into a bit of a twist, a final supine twist. Inhale, knees come up to center again, and we'll drop them over to the right as we gaze over the left shoulder. Breathing into the belly again. Softening any muscles that don't need to be used in this moment. And then inhaling, bringing the knees back up. Bring the hands alongside the body again, and we're coming into our final resting pose here, Shavasana. So just bringing the heels to both of the top corners of the mat and let the feet splay open. Take a moment to just get comfortable in your corpse pose, Shavasana. Arms extend out on the mat, palms face up to the sky, and we'll just bring the shoulders down, roll them down the spine here. So we're in our final pose, and this is arguably just as important as all the other poses that we've gone through. Just allows us to notice how we feel, and really tune inwards. So let gravity do the work. Just, you might want to say to yourself, I allow myself to let go and be here. Softening the brow, the muscles behind the eyes, the jaw, letting the tongue come away from the roof of the mouth. And then relaxing through the shoulders. Feeling the rise and fall of the belly as you inhale and exhale. And just asking yourself, could I be any more relaxed here? if I could, how would that feel? So noticing any micro muscles, the longer we're lying here, the more micro muscles start to soften and relax. And if your mind started to wander already, then that's normal. Seeing if you can bring it back. Bring it back to the sensations in the body. Can you notice any pulsing? Maybe in the hands, or just some warmth. And then we'll take a deeper breath here, again directing the breath into the belly. Deepest breath we've taken all day. And then exhaling through the mouth if you can. Take it one more time. Deep inhale, filling the belly. And then opening the mouth, exhaling everything out. Nice work. We'll start to bring some movement back into the fingers and the toes. And then bringing the hands up above the head. Bringing them together and then bringing the feet together at the bottom of the mat. We're coming into a full body stretch. Engaging all the muscles, and then exhale, releasing everything out. And from here, we're going to bend the knees, roll over onto one side of the mat, coming onto our side, coming into a fetal position, maybe making a cushion for the head with a hand or the arm, keeping the eyes closed. And then we'll continue the journey up, keeping the eyes closed, and we'll just come back to a comfortable cross-legged seated position, same way we started. And when we get here, just noticing where we place our hands, maybe leaving them on the knees. Palms can face down or facing up, your choice. And then creating length here through the spine, again, feeling that one line of energy from the sit bones rooting down into the earth, and the crown of the head lifting up to the sky. Take a moment to thank yourself for taking this time, for sticking to your intention, for really connecting with yourself today, and for carving out this time for yourself. I think it's such a beautiful thing and something you can really thank yourself for doing. And take one final breath here. Breathing deep into the belly, and then bringing the hands to heart center, dropping the chin down to the chest. Bat the eyelids open. Namaste.